to be honest, when I first chose Entitled a few years ago, it didn't really have much substance or much meaning behind it. You know, I kind of thought it just sounded nice and unique. But as I've grown as an artist, you know, I really began to look at the meaning of the word entitled.
Yeah.
And we see hip hop and how it's related and associated with negative things. And I feel that as Christians, we need to redeem genres such as hip hop, which are associated with negative things in the world. And I feel that, you know, we're entitled to do so as Christians, to use these genres that may be seen as, you know, not Christian-like, not Christ-like, but instead to redeem them for the glory of God.
And so when you came into the GL family, I mean, what were your first thoughts about what this was going to do for your gift and how you could develop as a person?
My first thoughts were, this is great. You know, I'm surrounded by people who have experience in this kind of thing, because obviously when I first came into music, I only knew how to write, and that was about it. I didn't really understand the culture around artistry, around music ministry. So I'd say being around more developed artists, also people who use their gifts such as producing, artistry, I think that really helped me to not only develop my talent, but also see the kind of serving spirit behind what we're doing. Because I'd say that GL and what we do, it's not just about, say, producing music. The music is really a byproduct of us aiming to serve the community and serve our listeners through producing great music.
Understanding that you were there 5 years ago?
Yeah.
So this is the first time you're performing. How significant is that for you then? I mean, that must be a bit crazy to have watching it 5 years ago, and now you're going to be on stage supporting some of the big, massive US artists that Roger's brought over.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't really look at it like that until today, and I'd say, you know, I've come a long way in those 4 or 5 years. And again, getting involved with GL, I've been able to grow. It's not just like I've been a spectator and then I'm suddenly jumping on. Over those few years, I've been able to see the ins and outs and kind of the mechanics behind the nights that GL produce. And so I think that understanding was really important for me to have before I got on stage. So I'd say that the years between me first coming to a GL event and now me rapping at an event, they were the kind of years of me gaining an understanding and more knowledge into the process. Through GL, wow. So many things. The first thing I learned is kind of the importance of a community for accountability. So having Christians around you, young Christians as well, especially those who kind of have similar interests to you and are going towards a similar path as you. I'd say another thing I really learned, which I kind of touched on briefly before, was the serving aspect of things. Because I think, especially with artistry, with music, it's easy to forget that, you know, you're still a servant. I think there's a saying, the greatest leaders are the best servants. So it's like, no matter what position you're in, no matter what you're doing, whether it's music, whether it's work, it's always from a position of serving people and serving God. And I think that was really brought across through spending time with the GL crew.
I just want us as a community to actually wake up, and I get criticised a lot for doing events at the drum, believe it or not, because I could do better and maybe go to the more prestigious events in Birmingham or whatsoever. But it's about the community, and I think, you know, especially as growing up in a Christian church, which is seen as an organisation that doesn't support the community, that doesn't go into the community, that doesn't work with the community, you know, it's imperative for me to be present in the community, and I feel that the drum is a place for the community, and I would all day long prefer to do my events in the drum, in the community, than to do it as a safe bet in a church, in a big church, which is very easy to do in my position. I sometimes kick myself when I do charge £10 for the events that I do. You know, you've got like at the next event that we're doing, we're bringing over 3 American artists. We got about 10-11 acts from the UK, and you're literally paying less than £1 per artist, and I'm like, hold on a second, you know what I'm saying, a Twix is almost £1, you know what I mean, you know, so if you go to buy a big size Twix, it's 80p, so I'm like, hold on a second, you have to also balance out, but we do have a strong focus on quality. There's 100% that, and we try to do the best we can with what we got, but we need a community to come out and support and enable us to go to another level.
Maybe. I'm excited to be able to share my music with so many people.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to hear all the other artists that will be performing on the night as well.
That's another question I have for you. So speaking of the other artists, how do you what's the camaraderie like?
I'd say amongst all the local artists, the Birmingham artists, and particularly those within the GL camp, I maintain a strong relationship with them. And again, I've grown with them, learned from their artistry and vice versa. But I'd also say with the artists outside of Birmingham, outside of GL, the likes of David B, Faith Child, who will be hosting the event. I'd say also collaborating with them for events as well in the past. For example, the last Affinity has also helped to develop a relationship which will hopefully grow over the years.
Yeah.
I'd encourage people to come along because it's not every day you get gospel events that are of such a good quality with such a range of artists and for such a good price. So all those things combined, it's definitely going to be a great night and you don't want to miss out.